If you want to show us some love, donate at rubydaytv.com, the home of all my exclusives. And don't forget to leave the show a rating or a review. We're answering your burning questions today about queefing, squirting, what it's like to be a nudist, sleeping in the naked, and can a hot guy be creepy?
Yeah.
I thought those were such good questions from all of you listeners. And I'm really excited to just get into it and just savor every moment of it.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
I'm Ruby Day.
And I'm Olivia.
And this is Love Shot.
Yeah.
Okay. We had some great listener questions come in. And I was just dying to answer them because, they went in to ask for more detail on some of our prior podcasts that we've done. And I thought it was really great. So we're going to start off with the first one.
Oh, what is the first one? Yes.
Ruby, in your next episode of the podcast, could you answer the question about your experiences with squirting and queefing, as well as your experience with being a nudist? Could you also mention what exactly a queef sounds like and what squirting feels like for you? Oh my, that's so much. That's a lot. So let me hit the nudist one first. My experience with being a nudist is like everyday existence kind of thing for me.
Yeah.
Which is very typical for nudists. I wasn't raised in a family that nudity was an issue at all. It just was normal. You know, it wasn't looked at as being sexualized, or it was just a natural part of life.
Yeah.
So I was never made to feel ashamed of my nudity.
Right.
So, you know, if I could go out my front door naked, I would, just because that's just me.
Goodness,
I'm
honey.
like, I don't have to wear clothes or not.
Yeah.
But at home, I'm naked as much as I possibly can be.
Yeah.
And for me, that's just, it's relaxing. It's grounding. It's centering for me.
Yeah.
It helps me think a little clearer, I guess, for lack of a better explanation.
Yeah.
And I feel like this huge weight is lifted off my shoulders. Anytime I just take my clothes off, it's like I have this stress level that I didn't even really realize I was carrying around with myself all day, just lifts off my shoulders, and it's freeing. It's just like I can breathe.
Yeah.
Do you have that experience?
Not like that, no. But I would say I'm kind of a part-time nudist. Sure, I mean, I sleep naked. I love that. I like to feel in the sheets on all my parts and lady bits and stuff like that. I enjoy that aspect of sleeping naked. And
you and me both.
Yeah. So the other thing I think, I'll get up in the mornings and I may peruse around the house a little bit in the mornings and maybe right before bed naked. But I love clothes. I really, really love clothes. I love how they make me feel. I love how they it changes your mood. I love it. I love clothes.
So you're like that with clothes, and I'm like that naked.
Yeah, apparently. Now, I will say there are some other exceptions. Like I do like, I like to go out to nudist beaches and stuff like that. I love that.
Yeah.
I will go out and get on the water. I'll go on the lake when there's there's lakes here in town that you can be nude in, part of it.
Yeah.
There's a part of the lake that's like, hey, that's the nude part. And so getting out on the boat, being naked, or just being on a nude beach or something like that. Now, I've never done any of the nudist resorts or anything.
I
or the
haven't either.
camping. Yeah, I've been invited to camping.
I know.
But I've just never done it, and I don't know. I think of camping, I think of bugs, and I want clothes on. I'm too girly like that. But overall, I would say it's like I'm a part-time nudist. I don't have hang-ups with my body and anything like that. And I do like to do naked sunbathing. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So I'm noticing sun and water, you're nudist. Otherwise,
In the bed.
otherwise, it's a little questionable.
Yeah,
Me,
yeah.
I'm just that way all the way
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
Like, I have to remind myself sometimes that I need to put clothes on to go outside.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I've been that way ever since I was
Oh.
really young. I
Oh
mean,
my
it hasn't
wow.
changed.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
more, of course, over the years, consciously aware that I need to put clothes on to go out. But
Yeah.
if it's just like
Oh.
I'm in the zone for the day and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I've got errands to run. I have literally picked up my purse and started to walk out the door with absolutely not a
Oh
stitch
wow.
on
Wow.
and went to get into the car and went, wait a minute, I need clothes. Thank
Yeah.
goodness I have a garage.
Oh my goodness.
Because I'm sure my neighbors would have something to say about that.
This is like 101 reasons why you're special, Ruby.
Yeah.
This is like, yeah, I don't know how you do that. I mean, I remember the stories we talked about in the podcast where you showed up at the door with your husband's friend, childhood
yeah.
friend who showed up in one of our earlier
Like
podcasts.
I said, I'm
Oh my
a
goodness.
nudist.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
mean,
my home space.
but that
so.
just kind of like, that blew my mind. You know, that blew my mind that you were so casual about it and just did it. But I get, if you're just that kind of a nudist where you don't even think about it.
No, I don't think
Then
I
I
have
totally
to
get it. Yeah.
consciously think about clothing.
Yeah. Then I could see that being a
I
problem.
mean, I really have to. It's something that
Oh.
I have had to discipline in
Yeah.
me. My mom said I've been this way ever since I was little.
Oh, goodness.
She said she had a hard time
Yeah.
keeping clothes on me as a small child.
Yeah.
And it just really hasn't changed much.
Well,
The
yeah.
sentiment, myself when I'm home and in my own space, it hasn't changed at all.
Yeah.
But it's been a very positive experience for me.
Yeah.
It's a way I can relax. It's the way it's like stripping off all
Yeah.
those layers of society and life and leaving them at the door or in a pile on your bedroom
Yeah.
floor and just shedding all of that weight that you carry and just having some moments where you can just relax, you can breathe. I don't know if you found this, but when I'm naked, especially at home, I've been naked at friends' houses, and I mean, I'm a nudist through and through.
I'm only
so to
naked
speak.
at friends' houses if we're having a play party or
Yeah,
we're sleeping together.
no.
but
I have
that's it.
one friend that
Oh,
I'd
goodness.
stop by his place sometimes, like 7,
Yeah.
8, 9 o'clock at night, and he'd have other people there, as
Yeah.
people are, and he'd always say when I walked in, he'd walk into the room where his other guests were, and he'd go,
Yeah.
"Okay, if you're not okay and comfortable with her being naked by 10 o'clock, then you
Yeah.
should probably leave
Oh,
before
goodness.
it turns 10.
Yeah.
Because for some reason at his house, 10 o'clock hits,
yeah.
and I can't stand to have my clothes on anymore. So there I am going through
Yeah.
his living room and kitchen, stripping
Oh.
down,
You know.
and he's
Yeah.
totally okay with it. He's
Yeah.
very comfortable with nudists and nudity, and it's just not an issue
Well,
for him at all.
You make me feel like I'm not really a nudist. I mean, I'm kind of like the weekend warrior kind of girl that does, but that's total nudist. You are a total
Yeah,
nudist. I
I'm
could
just-
not do that for the life of me. I couldn't do that.
Yeah,
No.
I'm always
Yeah.
happier and I'm always better. That's why a lot of my clothing, by the way, I have some issues with clothes on occasion. Like, I go to
figure.
put an outfit on and it just doesn't feel right. And I'll be
Yeah.
in the closet just huffing and,
Yeah.
mouthing and stripping off, trying to find something else. And I have days that, like, nothing I have,
Oh my goodness.
literally nothing, feels right on, makes me feel okay, or doesn't aggravate me. And on those days, I call them my nudist days, true nudist days,
Yeah.
because I'm like, okay, that's it. Plans have to change. I can't wear clothes today.
This totally makes sense now with your cooking naked show that you did years ago. Oh my gosh, it
Yeah.
totally makes sense why that was just your real life.
Yeah.
Except you probably were having to wear more clothes for the show
Yeah.
than you actually did in real life.
Yeah. But it was okay because,
Yeah.
aprons kind of kept things
Yeah.
at a distance and whatnot. And I'm messy in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Aren't
clean
we
up
all?
after
Yeah.
myself, but inevitably I make a mess. So that's been
Well,
that's my
yeah.
experience as a nudist.
Yeah, that covers a couple of them because we did the nudist and all the way into the sleeping. And how's your sleeping for you, in the bed sheets and stuff?
Oh,
How's
I
that
sleep
feel?
naked.
Yeah.
I have because for years, actually, ever since I started living on my own,
Yeah.
because I'd wake myself up twisting my night clothes,
Yes.
my
Oh, yes.
PJs
Mm-hmm.
all around me, and it'd wake me up
Yeah.
constantly. And I was just never really quite comfortable. I was like, okay, fuck this. This is overrated. There is nobody
Oh,
here who's
goodness.
going to tell
Yeah.
me I need to wear clothing
Yeah.
or, family members that's not really appropriate to be that way around.
Right. Right.
So I just started sleeping naked and I
Yeah.
have never looked back.
Yeah.
I sleep better. So, of course, it benefits health because you get a better night's rest.
Yeah.
I find my body really relaxes better when I sleep
I feel like
naked.
all my lady bits breathe better. I love
Oh,
that. Yeah.
completely. Anytime
Yeah.
I can have my lady bits breathing, they're
Mm-hmm.
breathing.
Yes, I know.
Because
That's a
that
good
just
thing.
keeps my body
Yeah.
healthy.
It's a
It
very good
keeps my
thing.
lady bits healthy.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps the breeze. And I have to admit, I really like feeling the
I
breeze
love
on
that
my
too.
naked
I do.
body.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean, I
nice.
just really
Yeah.
enjoy it. It's like one of those little happy little whispers of
Mm.
life that happens.
Oh, yeah.
I sleep better. I don't toss and
Yeah.
turn as much. I'm not waking myself up fighting covers or
Right.
pajamas
Right.
or
Yeah.
anything else. I,
Yeah.
I just
That
prefer it
sounds,
that
yeah,
way,
that sounds good. I mean,
you know?
it's a good way to be, and I kind of believe I'm the same way with that. And when it comes to sleeping naked, absolutely, I have the same thing. All right, so what is another question here off this
Okay,
list?
the queefing.
Oh goodness,
Have
queefing.
you
Oh
ever
God.
queefed?
Oh well, I think every lady has.
Oh, I don't know. I've actually
Oh
met
my
women who've
gosh,
never queefed.
really?
And they don't even understand, they don't know what the
Oh no,
concept
no.
is. Now, I've
Yeah, it's
queefed unexpectedly.
yeah.
I mean, we had good fun with it because it was just, I call them pussy farts. I don't call them queefing, I call
Well,
them pussy
it kind of
farts.
sounds like that. Oh,
Well,
it
it,
can.
it
Yeah,
kind of
it can kind of
does.
sound like that.
It's
Yeah.
like, when you push air out of a balloon
Yeah.
and it just kind of,
Yes, and then but there's a little bit of like a flabbery.
yeah,
There's a
there's a
flabbery sound, like
flapping
you know.
sound that goes with it.
Yeah, I can't do
So
it, but it's like
that's
yeah,
what queefing
yeah,
sounds like if you've never
yeah,
experienced it.
yeah.
Whether you're a guy and had a girl who had it
Right.
happen.
Now, it's
Mine
only happened to
was,
me during a sexual encounter. Like, a
yeah,
guy,
me
typically
too.
it's only happened in sex. Like if a guy was, pounding away and he pumps you full of air is what basically happens. And
Yeah,
then if
you
he,
get filled with
yeah,
hot
you get
air.
filled with hot air. And if, he pulls out in the right way or something like that, you can have it if you're bent over or whatever. And I've also
Or
had
your
it.
kegels are really working after they did that
Yes,
and it
right,
pushes it out and it
right, right.
queefs.
Or the other situation that has had happened with me is oral. A guy giving you oral, and he sits there and he's really going to town. And he blows air into you, right?
Now, I've
You
never
get some air
had
blown
that.
into you, or and he's doing that, but he ends up filling you up, and then it has to come out.
I've never had that queefing experience with
Oh,
oral
you've never had
sex.
that? Oh my
No,
God.
mine was, I was with a new couple and we were having fun and we were
Yeah.
laughing while having sex. And I mean, because I have a habit of making comedy during
Yeah.
fucking on
Oh, of course you
occasion.
do. Of course you do.
It's one of my little
Yeah,
quirks, I
yeah,
guess, but it's like good humor.
yeah.
Fun, just have a good time, relax kind of humor.
Absolutely.
And he had pulled out, and we were sitting and talking, and all of a sudden my pussy just farts, like really loud. And he looked at
Oh
me, and I
God,
looked at him,
no.
and his
Yeah.
girl looked at me, and she and I
Yeah.
started laughing because we knew exactly
Right.
what it was, and it feels so funny.
Oh, it feels funny.
I
Yes.
have
Oh my
to I
God.
have to say it
Yes.
feels kind of funny
Yeah.
because you actually feel your labias and pussy lips like flutter in the
Yeah.
breeze
Yeah.
and it
It's
jiggles
kind of
and
like
it
you blew up a
wiggles.
balloon, you let it go.
Yeah, yeah, sort of.
Makes
That's
me
a good
feel like,
analogy.
oh
So, and it always makes me laugh. It's
Yeah.
not just the fact of the sound.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm never embarrassed.
tickles.
It
tickles.
If a
Yeah.
guy's like, "What was that?" I'm like, "You filled me full of hot air.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't need any help."
Yes, right. Oh goodness. Yeah, that's queefing.
Yeah.
That's queefing in a nutshell.
That's
Yeah.
been my experience, at least.
Oh, mine too. I mean, those are very, very familiar, similar situations and experiences I've had with it too. Thank goodness I haven't happened a lot.
No, I
You
haven't.
know, it's not something that regularly happens during sex or
Actually,
encounters.
I
but-
have met
Yeah.
women who literally can queef without
Oh,
any
wow.
oral
Yeah.
or penetration or
Really?
like almost on demand.
Oh my gosh.
I thought it was the most
You've
fascinating
seen this?
things. I've talked to them.
Oh, you talked to him?
I've talked to them.
Oh
And
my
actually,
gosh.
one of the girls did it. We were
Yeah.
just sitting there talking.
Yeah.
And
Oh, my
she queefed.
Lord.
She goes, "Here, wait a minute. See?" And she did it on command. I was like,
Oh,
okay.
Lord.
I looked over her in amazement. I said, "All right, how the fuck did you do that?"
I'm thinking, I'm.
She was like, "I don't know. It's just a skill I've always had." I was like, wait a minute,
Oh,
wait a
wow.
minute. How'd you figure this out? I mean,
Yeah.
really, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
She goes, I was like 8,
Oh, wow.
and all of a sudden my pussy made this sound. She goes, at first I had to bend over and look at my pussy to see
Oh,
what was
Lord.
going on. Because she goes, it just started making these noises and I didn't know what they were.
Yeah.
She said, I've been doing it ever since. She goes, I can just queef on command
Oh my goodness.
whenever I want
Yeah.
or whenever someone
Yeah.
wants. I was like, okay, that is some mad pussy
So
skills.
this grown woman's telling you this.
Yes.
She's been doing this since she was childhood. It's
Yes.
unreal. That's a crazy. That's not an experience
And
that I
Norm-
think I could anywhere near ever do.
Oh, I could
Yeah.
never queef on
yeah,
demand.
that's crazy.
I can't. My body doesn't work that
Oh goodness.
way.
Oh goodness.
So I thought that was really just, I was still amazed. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
yeah.
what a gift. What a skill.
What a gift.
You know?
That's not really what I'm thinking, but okay.
Well, no,
Maybe
I
you
mean,
could turn that into something.
it's a talent. It's a talent. I'm thinking great queefing porn.
Oh Lord! Of course.
I mean,
you do.
that's
Yeah,
what you
of
would,
course, right.
you know.
Yeah. Well,
That's a
I'm sure there's
gift.
somebody out there that would be into that.
That's a gift.
Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely.
All right. What's the next question?
It's about squirting.
oh Lord!
Oh my
you
gosh.
boys! You boys!
Have you ever squirted?
Yes. I think. I mean, not. I've talked to a lot of women who haven't squirted, but I think a lot of women do squirt at some point, especially. Whether you're, having sex or you're even masturbating with a vibrator,
Yeah.
really, I mean, that can do it. You hit the spot right, and boom, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's an exhilarating experience. It's just kind of you
It's
almost
a
think you're
pre-
peeing at first. I think you're just
Actually,
like,
I was going to
"Okay."
say, I think a lot of women
Yeah.
don't realize they're squirting
Yeah.
and they think they're peeing.
Right. Right.
It's a really common misnomer.
Yeah.
Because I can't say I grew up being taught
Yeah.
that squirting ever existed.
Oh no,
I-
I never heard about it either. Honestly, it wasn't until the
actually-
internet. The internet. Came
And see,
around,
I
so
got
talking
it
about
before
yeah.
then. I actually heard about it one summer. I was on an internship and
Yeah.
we had apartments, but we shared them with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
So it was multi-bedroomed. And late one night, a bunch of girls got together and I heard them in the living room talking about something. I was like, what the hell are you guys even talking about? And I was the youngest one of the group.
Oh my goodness.
And I had no clue,
yeah.
no idea about anything that they were discussing.
Yeah.
And they said squirting. And I was like, what? And
Oh,
they go,
wow.
squirting. Haven't you ever done it? And these were like
Yeah.
18-year-olds, 17-year-olds in high school.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, we do it all the time. I'm like, okay, how did
Wow.
I get out of the loop of this? What the hell?
This is another story.
Seriously, what
I know.
what the hell are you talking about?
This is another story. I'm like, where did you go to high school at? 'Cause
So-
this is crazy. Your high
So,
school
well,
stories are
remember, it
crazy.
was an
Yeah.
internship. So
Right.
it wasn't actually
Oh,
in my
okay.
hometown.
Okay.
It had brought people from all over the country
Yeah.
together for this internship. And so the girls had to explain to me, being the younger one of the group, had to explain to me exactly what squirting was. So they're telling me, and they're like, yeah, there's this spot on the inside of your vagina. And if you rub it or hit it enough, then you have this little pocket of fluid that fills up. And when it gets super full, then it releases, and it releases this clear liquid.
Yeah.
And they said, it makes you feel like you're going to pee. And they said, that's the weird part of it, because you have to just go ahead and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Even though it feels like you're going to pee, it's not.
Yeah.
You're not going to.
Yeah.
And they said once that pocket gets really full and it just releases and it sprays this fluid all
Yeah, it
over
makes
the
a mess.
place. And they
Makes a
said
mess.
it makes everything wet.
Yeah.
It can be a large amount, or it can be a
Yeah, it can be
moderate,
a
a little bit of an
sometimes,
amount. One girl said she gleeks when she squirts. She doesn't just
yeah.
like gush.
Just
She
kinda like a-
gleeks. She just constantly gleeks. And I was sitting there listening to all this in total amazement,
wow.
thinking in my head, going, our bodies really do that? Okay, I'm going to have to go look into this and look it up.
Oh, wow.
So that's how I actually learned and was told
wow.
that
Yeah.
squirting even existed.
Yeah.
And these girls said they have been doing it all through high school.
Yeah.
Like that's something that they look to do.
Oh, wow.
So, I was just in total amazement, but it wasn't until years later
Yeah.
that I actually squirted myself.
You squirted yourself?
Well, no,
Or
I
you-
mean,
oh, you
I
by yourself.
squirted.
Just like maybe
I
it came
didn't
back.
make myself squirt, although I have multiple occasions.
Oh, goodness. Wow.
That's when I go to the bathtub because I don't want to have
Yeah.
to clean up the mess.
Yeah, I don't think
I can sense
Maybe.
it. I can sense
Yeah.
that pocket getting full, and I can feel when it's about ready to just totally explode.
Yeah.
So I can kind of, if I don't want to make the mess or clean it up, then I try to go to like a
Right,
kitchen
right.
floor or a
Yeah.
bathtub or shower or something so that I
Yeah.
don't have
I'm super self-conscious.
so
I'm
much
like,
to
I don't
mess
want to
up.
like make a mess. It's like unless I'm in a place, it's like this is a messable place. It's like
Yeah.
outside or something, or in the pool, or I don't know where. But maybe on the
in the
tile floor
pool's
or
a
something like
waste
that.
because you don't
Yeah.
get the full sensation
Yeah.
of the release.
Right. Well, no, I get.
I
get
love
that.
the sensation of the
But
release.
yeah, I think I'm always self-conscious of of squirting. If I feel like I'm gonna get there, it's like, oh, I don't want to make a mess.
Yeah.
Because you gotta, somebody's got to clean that up.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
think
crazy.
actually, if I remember correctly, the first time I actually squirted, and I wasn't really aware that that's what was
Yeah,
happening, but I
yeah.
knew what it was in college.
Yeah.
I had a partner in college
Yeah.
who we were having sex, and then all of a sudden it's like everything was wet.
Oh yes.
I mean, you didn't
Yeah.
feel a stream, but just like everything
I have
was
experienced
soaked.
that. That is something.
And
that just
he got
happens.
up and was like, "What the hell was that? Did you just pee on me?" And I'm thinking in my
like,
head,
"Oh my
trying
God."
to
Yeah.
associate the sensation that just took place. And I said, "No, I didn't pee on you." He goes, "I think you peed on me." And I said, "No, that's actually called squirting."
Oh wow.
And he was
Yeah.
like, he gave me this quizzical, dumbfounded look, like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
So then I had to educate
Yeah.
him
Oh
about
my
what
gosh.
squirting was.
I bet that'd be such
That
what
was
an
my
experience.
very first
Oh my
experience of
God.
having it done. And it's
Yeah.
not like the guy was skilled to make a girl squirt
Yeah.
because there's techniques you can
Yeah,
do
yeah.
to have that kind of experience. That was my first time, but
Wow.
I've masturbated and made myself squirt. I've gotten so good that I could do it on command.
Wow.
And like about
Wow.
5 minutes, I could be squirting. Like I had it down to a
Wow.
science.
That's a gift.
I've had
Another gift.
Actually,
Oh,
I
wow.
did squirt once with oral sex. This
Yeah.
one and only time, and I have to say, it probably registers in my top 5 best
Yeah.
sex experiences. He fucking blew my mind.
Yeah, sounds
I
like
had
it.
no idea this was even feasible, but
Yeah.
he was so orally skilled
Yeah. Oh, man.
that he
Yeah.
literally knew how to repetitively, time after
Oh,
time,
wow.
make a girl squirt.
Well, he was,
And
yeah.
he would, use his fingers internally to hit a specific spot
Yeah. Yeah.
while externally stimulating. And like
Wow.
clockwork, he knew about how long it would take,
Oh,
about
God.
how quick and how full that pocket would
Yeah.
get.
Yeah, I
And
need,
that was his big thing. Like,
oh,
he
wow.
loved squirting, was one
Yeah.
of his big
Yeah. Oh, my,
fetishes. And I told him, he asked if I was up for trying. I said, sure. So what he does is he goes and gets 20 beach towels. I'm not kidding you. He
20
gets
beach towels.
20 beach
oh, my
towels,
gosh.
tells me to lay down on the couch,
Yeah.
and puts the towels underneath me,
Yeah.
right under my hips,
Yeah.
so that the couch didn't get soaked,
Right.
because he was that proficient. So I'm, leveraged
gosh,
on
who
these
is this
20
guy?
beach towels. This guy's between my legs, and I'm just laying there going, okay, well, trying to
Wow.
get relaxed and, just kind of
Yeah.
clear my head to enjoy the experience. And not long after, he's having me squirt all over his couch, all over his face, all over his chest. His entire shirt was
wow.
soaked.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, I thought you
Oh,
could.
wow.
And I was totally blown away.
Yeah, I'm
He
blown
took
away.
about 2 breaths of a conversation, started right back in.
Oh, my God.
Made me squirt over and over for
oh, my God.
hours.
Wow.
To the point that I was like, I had to stop him because I said, my body is exhausted.
Oh, wow.
I said, I need a breather. He goes, you ready for some water? And I said, absolutely. Because if you squirt that much, you actually can
wow.
dehydrate yourself.
Yeah.
So you know,
Yeah, oh
if
my
you're with a
God.
partner who really likes to make you squirt, you need to drink a lot of water with it.
Yeah.
I was still dehydrated the next day.
I have one question. Do you have his number? Because I think I need this guy's number. I'm going to give him
I'll
a
have
call.
to see. I'll have to see if I
Because
still
I
do
have
it.
never experienced anything like that.
That
It's
was
just far
my
out,
one
yeah.
and only time.
Wow.
And I looked at him after he was done, and I said, you have some mad skills.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, no
And he
doubt.
just grinned this shit-eating
Oh, my
grin.
Lord.
I said,
Wow.
I bet the girls really love you.
Yeah.
And this was just kind of a friend that
Yeah.
he was just a
Yeah.
friend, but we kind of had that dynamic
Yeah.
that sex wasn't a big deal if that's what took place,
Oh, yeah.
but nobody pushed it
Right,
kind
right.
of ordeal. So yeah, he was.
Oh, wow.
He was probably one of my top 5, especially
Yeah.
top squirting experiences.
Goodness. Yeah. I don't have anything like that. I've got, you know, sex a few times and then, you know, a little bit. It can be more maybe. It's sometimes and less other times. I'd say I had a little bit with, you know, just doing some self-play. And, but other than that, yeah, nothing like that. It sounds like
yeah.
you're just a water fountain happening.
I was like, how is my body
Oh my
producing
gosh, yeah.
this much liquid? I am
Yeah.
not kidding you. The towels
Oh, I
were
believe you. I
soaked
believe you, honey.
all
Yeah.
the way through.
Yeah.
I wanted to know how I didn't get moisture chafing
Yeah,
on my back.
I didn't first see it. I remember after I was out of college, some guy showed me this porn, and he was showing me this girl. I was like, "Have you heard of squirting?" He was showing it to me, and I had never even seen her to experience it. I'm like, "This is far
You
out."
gotta
Like,
love
what in the
porn for
world? And I
things
said,
like
"Look,"
that.
It looked like she was. I thought she was peeing too, but I had to go look it up, and then I looked it up, and it's like I think you just understanding it a bit. You have those moments where you almost like during sex, you feel like you're gonna pee. And you're thinking it's gonna
do.
pee. You do think of that, but
And you try to hold it
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
but the whole thing
Yeah.
is to relax and just
Yeah.
let it flow.
But if you don't know about it, as a woman, you're not going to do it.
Self-conscious.
You're going to get self-conscious.
Yeah,
Like,
because that's the last thing you want to do. Me, I've gotten to the point I'm just kind of unapologetic about it. If some urine comes out, well, that's just part of the squirting.
You're just kinky.
Well, no, it's just some can.
Right.
Because it's coming from the same area of the body.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't happen very often, but it can on occasion.
Right.
And I've been with girls who've squirted who have some urine come out with it. It's just not a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, if you're into squirting, you kind of know that. That just kind of comes with the territory.
The people who are into it, I'm sure they don't care.
They're totally okay. But being the girl who does it, it's so self-conscious.
Yes.
And you have to really mind over matter that natural instinct to clench and not release. So you really have to get relaxed and get really comfortable with yourself and with a partner. Right. And it's just, but still, one of the most freeing squirting moments I've had was outside. I was on some property and totally butt naked. It was a beautiful spring day. You know, that perfect temperature in the 70s, nice sun out. You could feel it on your skin. There is nothing more freeing than squirting outside.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Just being totally naked, completely free. Because
I'm
being
have to take your
able
word for that one,
to squirt
never had that.
just is a freeing experience.
Yeah.
But then to be in nature and have all the senses of smells and the sun on your skin and the wind, you know, the breeze gracing over your body and you can just breathe. That there is nothing that tops that. Yeah. Squirting outside. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite way to do it.
Sounds like a party.
Oh, it's always
Sounds
a
like
party.
A party. Oh, my goodness. So what's the next question? I think it was something about hot guys and can they be creepy? Was
yes.
I think that's what it was. Something
yes.
Like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Because somebody asked that.
So
Good
one
question.
of our other podcasts that we were talking, I think voyeurism or sex outside.
And flirting
kind of a
too,
combo of that. And I mentioned how as long as you're not being creepy.
Yeah.
And one of you listeners wrote in and asked if we could explain what creepy is kind of in those situations as an onlooker. And sometimes it's as simple as just if you're lurking, like lurking, especially if you're too close and doing it.
Yeah.
It can get a little creepy.
Yeah.
It can get a
or
little
like
disconcerting.
The stare, like they just stare at you and they don't blink, they don't do nothing, they don't have any facial expressions, you know. And this doesn't matter if you're attractive or not. Even a hot guy would be like, if you're just sitting there staring at somebody, and
if you're
like,
hot and leering, if you're hot and doing kind of behaviors that are going to creep the other people out or make them feel uncomfortable, you're still creepy. Okay.
And I know some people
aesthetics don't matter.
They have,
for me.
Aesthetics don't matter either. But I think there's an aspect. Some people just are a little social and adept with it, and maybe they don't know. You know, it's like, oh, how should I do it? Like, look at somebody and like say, oh, maybe if you're staring and they catch eyes with you like that, you could be like, hi. You know, you should engage it versus if you catch eyes and you see that somebody's staring at you, don't just sit there and just keep, you know, staring
or
without
just
any change your movement or whatever.
Or just as simple as you lock eyes and you just nod like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And don't keep staring.
Yeah, and you could, right.
I mean, it's just simple
smile,
things like
or just
that.
give a smile, you know? And those things would make it uncreepy. Not creepy, you know, type of situation. But yeah, it's a...
I had one time, I was in a group setting. It was a play party, and so there were a lot of other people around. So it's not that people were looking or anything, but there was this one guy, and he was hot as hell.
Yeah.
But the problem was, he walked up to this couple that was fucking next to me.
Yeah.
and he almost like hovered over them
God, now that's creepy. That's just the
and
actions are
started
creepy.
masturbating,
Oh wow.
watching them,
Inappropriate.
like to a point that they had to ask him to back up a few feet.
Oh wow.
And it was just really bizarre. And then everybody's going, hey, who brought the hot guy? You know,
Hot guy
who
who's
brought the hot
clueless,
guy?
apparently, yeah.
Who doesn't understand
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
Somebody, whoever brought him, needs to have a talk with him because
Yeah.
this isn't cool. It just totally creeped out the
Right.
whole
Oh, it would.
vibe.
You know, I think it really comes down to how
But then
your personality
you
with it,
know,
how yeah.
then I've had people that maybe aren't considered as attractive
Mm-hmm.
who sit on the couch and watch everybody fucking. They may be masturbating and it's totally cool.
Right. You're right. I've
And
seen
it's
people like
not
that.
a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, they're keeping it
Yeah.
a appropriate distance.
Yeah.
Whatever that is for the situation. They are enjoying the visual,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not interjecting themselves
Right.
into the visual.
One-
And I think that's what really defines creepy. Like, you can partake in the visual and do whatever you're going to do, but when you try to interject yourself as a viewer into the interaction,
Yeah.
then it can get creepy.
Yeah, there's a lot of actions people can do to get creepy, but I think if we were just talking about looking, it's like the first thing that comes to mind is leering. Don't leer, you know? There's
Yeah.
a difference between glancing somebody's way and me having eye contact and just leering where you're not breaking eye contact and you're just staring without anything. I think that's probably what hits me, and it wouldn't matter what they look like. Why?
No,
Now, if the guy-
aesthetics doesn't matter.
Right,
It's all in
however,
how they behave.
But if they were intimidating looking from their aesthetic, and I'm not meaning whether you're attractive or whatever, maybe you're just intimidating. Maybe it's your size.
maybe they
it's
have
your
a
structure.
resting bitch face.
Maybe they do. Maybe it's their clothing. You know, things like that can add to it. They can add to the level of creepy. I think that's just because we're all, as humans, we're visual creatures. And so that visually you think, oh, is there a threat? You know, you don't know. And you
Yeah.
just don't know because you don't know the person, right? So it's like, and that matters too. If you don't
But
know the person,
It's
can
the
be,
fact that they're a stranger
Right.
that
Yes.
sometimes is the turn on.
Yeah, right. Well, sure.
You
sure,
know,
sure,
I mean,
yeah.
when I think of these scenarios, it's always with somebody I don't know. And in some ways, that kind of gets me more excited.
Yeah.
I get hot by that.
Well,
and I
yeah,
don't
I mean-
know. I haven't quite figured out what that is.
I mean, I
yet.
love having a guy look at me, you know, take notice and look at me, or you know, and smile and stuff like that. And different types of guys, you know, I'm like, I have a range, but yeah, I mean, thank goodness I haven't had a lot of creepy stares in my life, but there's been a handful.
Oh, I've
you know,
had
there's
all
been a
kinds
handful.
of. I've had all kinds of creepy.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't even have to involve sex. I
Yeah.
mean, I've
Oh,
had
right.
people following me in the grocery store.
Yes. Yeah.
And
had
then
that too.
you kind of think, are these people following me?
Yeah.
And you glance back just to kind of get a reference, and they happen to notice that you're glancing at them, and then they dart off.
Yeah.
And then you find them a few minutes later.
Right behind you or something.
Yeah, walking behind you again.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah, that's creepy.
You
That's
know,
actions. This gets creepy.
You know,
yeah.
don't follow somebody to the
Yeah.
bathroom kind of
Oh, yeah. Right, right, right.
situation.
That's not good.
Even if they are going to go fuck the girl that they're with, don't follow them into
follow
the
'em.
bathroom. And if you do, well, first off, don't fucking get caught.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole nother thing. But do it inconspicuously, like to the point they don't even know you've walked in.
Yeah.
Those are always really
those
interesting
are some great
ones.
questions that everybody wrote
I
in
am
for.
so
Yeah.
glad you guys wrote in questions. Please keep them coming. I love them. I love to hear what you all have to think and say. And I love that you share your experiences.
If you want to show us some love, donate at rubydaytv.com, the home of all my exclusives. And don't forget to leave the show a rating or a review.